not human beings.
Do wrong things. So they should be watchful. The neighbor they have may not be able to.
A world full of challenges.
So far as you have heard from my command, we have registered about 8
Also, women's conference held in Namugongo.
Talking not uniformity, but we are talking on agreement. Unity does not mean that everyone has to agree on every detail, but rather unity is a shared commitment.
And in international news, trade war looms. China rejects Trump's invitation to trade deals.
Brought you back.
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
Battles belong to God. The battles of life belong to God. You don't have any power. You don't have ability. You don't have the And when you fix your eyes on him, he will fight for you. And there are people here who can testify of God fighting their battles. In case you are here and you are going through challenges and you've been wondering how you are going to handle it, through prayer, bring God to your battle. Bring God to your battle. Listen. Don't fight God's battles. If you know you are not God, and indeed you are not God, don't fight God's battles. Let God fight for you. Tell your neighbor, let God fight for you. We should put our trust on God because He fights our battles. June 10, 28 and 29. The Bible says that no one can snatch us.
Yes, once again, welcome to News at 8. My name is Luke Majumba Alinai. We're starting us off today. Security has been tightened at Namugongo at the Uganda Martyrs site just hours before Martyrs Day celebrations. Now, the Deputy General Inspector of Police, James Ochaya, has reassured the public that the event will be peaceful while also urging everyone to be vigilant during the celebrations. Let's take a look.
With thousands of pilgrims already gathered in the
I am here.
because not all those who come here come to faith. Others come to steal, others come to do wrong things. So they should be watchful. The neighbor they have may not be a good neighbor. So they should be watchful. And so far as you have heard from my command, we have registered about 80 cases of criminality, stealing of phones. That means there still could be other people within the community here that are still, trying to hit their target. So let us be mindful of our neighbor.
Ochaya also to keep our children.
Not your pastor,
For cases of missing children, are dedicated to
not your husband, not the parliament of
The
Uganda.
young children, we are telling their parents, and we are also actually registering. So a child that happens to be interest because you see this now. So we have also created a center somewhere.
If you want to succeed in life,
He encouraged all Ugandans to take
fix your eyes on God.
Because our concerns now are issues to do with maybe sanitation, but not security. We assure members of the public that let them come and renew their faith because we want peace in this country.
Martyrs Day marked every 3rd of June attracts thousands of faithful from across the region. Authorities are now urging everyone to be both faithful and careful.
Martyrs Day celebrations of the Minister of Tourism, Honorable Tom Butime, toward the Anglican Martyrs site in Namugongo, expressing satisfaction with the site's preparedness and reaffirming the government's commitment to continued government support.
With just a few hours remaining until the 2025 Martyrs Day commemorations, final preparations are in full swing at the Namugongo Anglican site.
No, it's not that they vanish what had the positive impression, which is but from there down to
Today, the Minister for Tourism, Honorable Tom Butime, paid a special visit to the shrine, expressing his admiration for the improvements made and the increasing number of the visitors.
Every other day, come and experience this journey of the faithful Uganda Martyrs. That's where the idea of the museum came in, the late Archbishop. So where we are going, it is the execution area, the place where these young people were tortured for 7 full days.
What happens at Namugongo, there are people who come here and they spend 1 week, 3 days, 2 days from within Uganda. Those are pilgrims who are domestic pilgrims. But remember that we also have foreign pilgrims, those who come from outside Uganda. For us Christians, those are pilgrims. But remember that for government, they are also tourists, and that's what brings me here, so that I can satisfy myself that preparations are very good, excellent preparations, and therefore I am happy that tomorrow here at the Anglican shrine and there at the Catholic shrine, things are perfect.
The minister also reassured the public about the health and security measures in place as thousands are expected to gather here tomorrow.
Both Anglican and Catholic celebrations with 4 billion shillings, 2 billion for the Anglican and 2 billion for the Catholic. This money was already disbursed to the responsible institutions. Next year, we shall do better. This money will be available early enough so that we don't delay in the preparations.
Religious leaders welcome the government's involvement, with the Bishop of Langor, Right Reverend Professor Alfred Ora, describing the visit as a milestone in advancing religious tourism.
The Honorable Minister for Tourism, Honorable Tom Butime, with us on the inspection. Now, it encourages us on the first front because he's the line minister responsible for this day. and he's spoken so well about receiving all the pilgrims as well as the faith-based pilgrims, and how we should really treat them and support them. That is really good. But he has also spoken about how from next year the government has already passed that it will be in the national budget to support the different aspects which they have continuously been supporting here, for which even we are very thankful to His Excellency the President and the government for giving us money for this year, at least a week earlier than the previous years.
Sadiq Adams, the communications officer for the Church of Uganda, stated that they are expecting the guest of honor tomorrow, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, and expressed gratitude for the minister's visit.
So how we are ready to receive the pilgrims and the guests. Security is tight. The Deputy IGP has been here. There has been convening a security meeting. We have had hundreds of people accessing medical services. They have been treated, given free medicine. Others are being tested for TB, HIV, Mpox, and several other diseases are being tested for free from here. Our washrooms, they are set. We are very cognizant, and we are making sure that our pilgrims, their health is taken very good care of. That's why.
As the sun sets to the eve of the Martyrs' Day, the message from Namugongo is clear. Uganda is ready to honor the legacy of the martyrs with dignity, faith, and national pride.
Yes, and now moving on elsewhere, in a powerful display of faith and unity, thousands of women gathered here today at the Anglican Martyrs site, and this event was a pre-event ahead of the main celebrations for tomorrow. Now, under the theme, Imitating God's Goodness by Doing Good, the event featured inspiring messages from prominent leaders, marking it as a significant one. Let's take a look at that.
Mothers, you are the backbone, the Namugongo of our families. Let me repeat, mothers, you are the backbone of our families. Thank you for being here. What could we do without mothers? We bless the Lord for you. I want to prepare you for tomorrow's worship. When you go to northern Uganda, and you see how we worship, we are full of life. Full of life. You wait for the preacher tomorrow to show you the life. There is a heavy presence of security here. And we say this is for our own good. And so we would like to ask you to cooperate with security to do whatever they ask you to do. Because they will be tough, but then they will also be tender. But we must cooperate with them. We are talking not uniformity, but we are talking on agreement. Unity does not mean that everyone has to agree on every detail. But rather, unity is a shared commitment to the same goal and purpose.
Love always protects. Love always trusts. And love always hopes. Love perseveres. He says love never gives up. Love never fails. When we have Jesus in our hearts, He changes our hearts day and night. He transforms us day and every other day. Then we begin being patient with others. Even when they point a finger, And you know it very well before God you are innocent. Keep calm in Christ.
You need to assess your financial situation. Understand your income, your expenses, and the debts that you have. This does not mean that you're really doing a business or a big job or anything so big, but it ranges from small things to bigger things. You might be a tomato seller, but you are still able to assess and know your financial status. You might be working in a very big office up there and you're getting millions of money. You also need to assess your financial status.
I want you to take charge of your life. If you are a woman above 45 years old, carry out routine checks of cancer every 2 years. HIV every 3 to 6 months. Especially if you are sexually active. And also for TB. There are services that are being offered in this place. Services, yeah. So here, as you come this week, this whole time here, please find time to go and be screened.
In the name of the worship committee, all of you, we welcome you to Namugongo. In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Tukute tendereza nyo Yesu olimwana kwandika omusai kokunaziza twebaza
Alright, still about women here today. As pilgrims prepare to celebrate Martyrs Day, women gathered here today at the Namugongo Anglican Martyrs site for a special women's conference. Now, our team spoke with several women dignitaries, and these shared the purpose of women.
As mothers, we are having actions at home is in our hands. If a mother does things which are like this, the children will not be good children, even the husband. That's why in Proverbs, they tell you the man, the woman who fears the Lord, even his husband, even the husband is praised at the gates. Reason because of the woman. So the women for us, we are always seeking more knowledge. We are always seeking God to give us strength because we are weak. And so when you become weak and the problems of the world come on you, they really put you down. But when they call us that there is another chance to gather and learn and look into our face and fellowship and worship, we come in big numbers because we know that individually we are going to benefit and it will help us in nurturing our homes.
We want to say that it's ending it as a public threat. There are 3 areas we look at. We want zero new infections. We don't want people to infect others. And of course, 0 is very hard to get to, but we want to reduce as much as possible so that people are aware that I am positive and I don't pass it on. How does that happen? If I know that I'm positive and I'm on my medication properly, it suppresses the virus and therefore you cannot pass it on. When a person is, we call it virally suppressed, they cannot pass on this virus to anyone else. So we want people who are positive to be on their medication properly every single day so that they are suppressed, so that they don't pass it on. We also want the message to go that don't look for the infection. Don't go and have sex with someone you don't know whose status it is. Don't be careless.
A lot of things have gone amiss because the way how we have parented our children is not in a Christian way. You find these days children, they talk to their parents when they are just standing and talking anyhow. If they are talking to you anyhow, like when you are at home, what do you expect your child to do at school? you'll also do the same. But when the child is humble at home, I tell you, you'll also be humble at school. So parents, mothers, please, let us go back on the drawing board. We teach our children eating manners, table manners, how a child is supposed to behave in public. Respect is very key. And communication, I remember those days even you communicate with an eye. Your mother looks at you with the eye like this. You know that what you are doing is bad. But today, when you look at the child with an eye like this, he or she will continue doing the same work. So please, let us go back to the drawing board, because we are the ones who are mentoring the children, parenting the children, who are going to make the future church, who are going to make the future country. So, which country are we living when we are not mentoring our children and training them very well?
As mothers, we are custodians of very many things. We are supposed to be role models in our families, in the community, and in the church. And then we are supposed to lead by example. So, from the theme, we are looking at having Christ at the center of our hearts, so that when we have Christ at the center of our hearts, we shall be able to imitate God, because God is good and we can also do good. The talks which have already been spoken are encouraging mothers to take up their position in their families and in the church, so that the church will be stronger and the families will be stronger, the community will be stronger as we embrace Christ in our hearts, and then we shall be able to extend our love and compassion to those who come around us.
Well, that's quite interesting messages coming in from the women here. Strong women holds, of course, giving in strong messages. Now that ushers us to the Archbishop's moment. Please take on as you listen into those wise words from His Grace, the Archbishop.
And others, when you see Kayimba, she has put on a shirt like the mother, like a mother. So she's 9 months, he's 9 months, he's 9 years. So when you see him, the mother is here. So you bring done with that. This very night, we are from glory to another glory. There is this announcement.
Right, quite interesting from Archbishop. Now that happens here every single day. You want to get such information, please. You're supposed to be glued to Church of Uganda Family TV. Now that takes us to a short break, please. Don't go away. We have a lot still coming.
November up to 29. We shall be in this place.
course, we are coming to you live from Namugongo at the Anglican Martyrs site. Well, moving on, Christians have been asked to prioritize regular medical checkups as an essential step towards their health benefits. Now, this call was made by Rosalind Binji Kawiso, the president of Mothers Union Namirembe Diocese, during the Mary's Day celebrations held at St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, Kabowa Parish. Now, during the same service, believers were also encouraged to participate in the upcoming Mothers Union run scheduled for the 7th of June 2025.
It was a joyous celebration at St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, Kabowa Parish, as members of Mothers Union gathered together to commemorate Mary's Day service. The preacher of the day, Namutebekezia Chitamirike, urged mothers to invite Jesus into their lives to overcome any challenges they may face.
My message today to Mothers Union is, in your marriage, call Jesus. Urge him to come and sit down with you. I don't know what your challenge is. It could be in raising your children, it could be financially, it could be with your husband, it might be yourself. But sometime, somehow, you have to urge Jesus to come and dine with you. So it is my humble prayer to the people who are listening and watching that you call Jesus, just like Bartimaeus did it. Call him to come and dine with you.
After the sermon, new members were welcomed into the organization, and this was done by the parish priest.
Josephine Katoliga, Nze Reverend Henry Benson Charles omusumba Subawono, mubwekapowa, nkuyingiza mu kibiina ky'abakyala abafumbo, Wanyala kyaffe n'omwana aw'olutuuzo.
While addressing the congregation, the President Mothers Union Namirembe Diocese, Rosalind Binji Kawiso, called upon mothers to refocus on growing the boy child.
Yes, sound check, mic check, 1, 2. Sound check. Mic check, 1, 2. Sound check, mic check, 1, 2. Sound check. That's right. Mic check, sound check, mic check. Sound check, mic check, 1, 2. Sound check, mic check, 1, 2. Right, we are getting spirited up here at the Namugongo Anglican Martyrs. This is praise and worship.
Eggwanga lino nga linagenda mu maaso, eggwanga lino nga linaaba n'emirembe, tulina okuba mu kikola. Eggwanga ly'enjeru kirungi nnyo, okubeera nga tujaguza kirungi nnyo, naye eggwanga tulitaddewa. Ky'osiga mu mwana wo olwaleero, ky'osuubira okuba nga wayiseewo ekiseera, ng'omwana tajja kukola by'ataalaba. Bye tukola byonna twabijja waka, nga tulaba bataata bakola bati, bamaama bakola bati.
Medical checkups for our children, medical checkups for ourselves as ladies, and medical checkups for our husbands. 4. When you do the medical checkup, that's when you know your status. And if there is anything, you can start treatment immediately.
We are getting a little bit spirited up here at the Namugongo Anglican Martyrs side, but well, we have to continue with the bulletin. Now, as Christians prepare to commemorate Martyrs Day tomorrow, Reverend David Sekabira has strongly condemned the public's misconception that martyrs are worshipped. Now, according to Reverend David, the faithful come together to honor the memory of the martyrs with solemn rituals, not to worship the martyrs. Let's take a look.
Celebrate Uganda Martyrs Day at Namugongo Shrine. According to Reverend David, the commemoration of 140 years since the martyrdom significantly strengthened the faith of believers, especially in deepening their knowledge of Christ and encouraging a selfless life of sacrifice.
Then that would mean today we have a challenge that the faith we have, which is in a variety of churches, is seen like something which is beneficial to you. You get to believe in God and your future is assured. Whereas for these people, it is nothing like focused that they would benefit from it. And the end result was that they were martyred.
Reverend David further addressed concerns raised by some in the Muslim community, who he said often misinterpret the Christian gathering at the shrine, believing that Christians are worshipping the martyrs instead of God.
True, it's very difficult to be able to differentiate between who is worshipping and who is thinking critical and says, if these people were that young, and even whether they were old, and their end was that, what have I given so that I can know the cost of Christianity? True, there may be those, because even in churches, there are people who go there, when they know they are going to say, put up your hand, of no visa, he goes for visa. So they maybe would say he's going to go to get the visa, to get a trip outside, and so on and so forth. But primarily the matters situation is basically for the individual to go and takes time and reflects on saying, if these people were able to die for their faith, how can I be so determined to keep my faith to the very end?
According to Reverend David, the Uganda Martyrs were executed by King Mwanga too, not because they were rebels, but because they had converted to Christianity. The martyrs were killed in 1886 for refusing to renounce their Christian faith as a stance that was perceived as a challenge to the king's authority and the traditional religious beliefs of the Buganda kingdom.
Now, all we need to know that the person you're talking about who was a master was a king. And you can imagine, like now the president of Uganda, the powers he has. So, even if it's misunderstood, the measure he takes would be interpreted as saying this individual was punished because he was a rebel or he didn't do what his master wanted him to do. And this was a situation, as you may reflect on what exactly went on, that these young men went in good numbers to study the word of God. And obviously at any given time, the master would want to meet one of them or would want somebody to do something and would not be there. And the excuse was, these people have gone to the missionary.
However, according to Gertrude Sekabira, the director of Mackay Memorial College, unity is fostered among Ugandans when they come together for such gatherings.
All of us come, and it's not only in Uganda, by the way. Even the countries of East Africa, come and join us. There is unity before Christ. There is unity at the feet of Christ. And it doesn't mean, as the Bible says, whether you're a Jew, whether you're not a Jew. And therefore, whether you are what, as long as you are coming to worship God and you are coming for that cause of our salvation.
Tomorrow, believers will gather at the Namugongo Anglican Shrine, and the chief guest will be the President of Uganda.
Bogere George Egesa has urged the Bakedi to labor much and educate their children in order to avoid the challenge that was stipulated in the National Housing and Population Census, which was poverty. Now the bishop was addressing Christians while at All Saints Cathedral in the Bukedi Diocese Fellowship here in Kampala. He also commissioned the interim committee for the Bukedi Diocese Kampala Fellowship.
The 2024 census results revealed significant disparities in poverty in Uganda. While the national poverty rate is 23%, certain regions experience significantly high rates, particularly in sub-regions like Acholi, Karamoja, Bukedi, Busoga, Chigezi, Lango, and Teso. Kampala, on the other hand, has the lowest rates of poverty. However, addressing during the Bukedi Diocese Kampala Fellowship at All Saints Cathedral Kampala, the Bishop of Bukedi Diocese, the Right Reverend Samuel George Bogere Gesa, was much dismayed by the high rates of poverty in Bukedi sub-region, which he says can only be addressed through education.
Year after year, and they say we are poor. What type of poverty do we have? There was one man, a presenter, who used to say, Tori Mwavu, Omutwebo. I think as a fellowship, we can handle this. Come up with a concept. Say, why should they continue? Really, I was perturbed to say that now Bukedi has overtaken Karamoja. It is late in record. Even these people who visit what statistics give, they are saying it is true. But what type of poverty do we have?
Bishop Egesa questioned the manner in which jobs are distributed and given out among Ugandans, with some regions being favored much more than others. He urged the Bakedi in bigger positions and offices to help their fellow Bakedi for their betterment of the entire region.
Abana bano bonna bakaba wana emirimu. Tebo basaba emirimu, tebabawa. How will you manage to do something when your income is just you go from the eastern region, you'll find something different. Let me just share with you this testimony. Hey, but let me tell you, your children lost job. Abana bandi abatalina ati kakati nga abakedi tuyambagane. Nze naku zino ndaba mu mawulire omwo.
Bishop Egesa anchored his sermon on the theme of Spirit-filled life, the basis of doing good, which is derived from the Gospel of Luke chapter 4 verse 1 to 22. He encouraged believers to create a place in their lives for the Spirit of God to operate in them.
Spirit-filled life, the basis of doing good. In the book of Hebrews chapter 11 verses 4 following, we have a long list of people who surrendered their life completely. And therefore, they were filled with the Spirit completely.
So I will trust in you. It's the Lord mighty. Yes, He is. So I will trust in you. It's the Lord healer. Yes, He is. So
Yes, moving on now, the chaos broke out at the Democratic Party DP National Delegates Conference after the name of one candidate, Vincent Kawere from Machinde, Sabagabo, was not read out despite him having paid the nomination fees of 500 Ugandan shillings. Kawere, along with several supporters, protested on the omission.
And this is going to be my simple appeal and the final order of this one. The money constitution and your team.
It is true that we have exposed the Democratic Party that is. So you brothers and sisters that are annoyed with our brothers that left Democratic Party, this is the time for you to know that it was time to leave. They only didn't have enough time to expose the dirtiness that is in Democratic Party. But I assure you, we shall clean Democratic Party. Museveni was in the war for 17 years. He has led this country for 40 years. We have just started the journey to redeem Democratic Party and make Democratic Party great again. And I'm telling you, very soon, real soon, Mao will be out of that seat as the President General of Democratic Party. Just watch.
Fellow Democrats, we have internal mechanisms of solving our party problems. Why do we go to the media to lambast the party? Why do we go to court to lambast the party? It follows that if you keep insulting your president, that he has sold the party. Does this look like a party that has been sold? What are we doing here? The people who say the party was sold have the biggest posters all over here.
US President Donald Trump, who claimed that Beijing breached the consensus reached during the Geneva trade talks. Now, labeling these allegations as groundless, China vowed to take strong measures to protect its national interests aimed at escalating these issues.
China rejected accusations from the US it had broken accusations were groundless. It also promised to take forceful measures to safeguard its interests and accused Washington of seriously violating their trade truce. The comments came in response to Trump's Friday statement that China had breached a deal to roll back tariffs. US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick spoke on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream.
I think what happened is Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer went to Geneva. They made a deal with the Chinese. And really the right way to say it is they're just slow rolling the deal. So I think slow rolling is the right way to say it. And I think Donald Trump is on it.
But China said Monday it had implemented and actively upheld the agreement reached last month in Geneva. It further accused the US of introducing many discriminatory and restrictive measures against China. That included issuing guidance on AI chip export controls, halting sales of chip design software to China, and revoking visas for Chinese students.
Everybody here, you must pray to God. Give you the spirit of prayer. Lift your hands and say,
well, now I want to appreciate you for joining us this evening. That marks the end of our bulletin. But before we sign out, let's take a look at what the main stories were.
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
In this edition of the news, security tightened at Namugongo ahead of Martyrs' Day celebrations. Over 50 arrested for robbing pilgrims.
Not all those who come here come to renew their faith. Others come to steal, others come to, do wrong things. So they should be watchful. The neighbor they have may not be a good neighbor. So they should be watching. And so far, as you have heard from my command, we have registered about 80 cases of criminality.
Also, police conference held in Namugongo. Mothers urged to imitate God's goodness by doing good.
Talking not uniformity, but we are talking on agreement. Unity does not mean that everyone has to agree on every detail, but rather unity is a shared commitment.
And in international news, trade war looms. China rejects Trump's accusations on trade deals.
Women and men who surrender their lives to prayer. Because Satan knows
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
No weapon.
And well, that marks the end of our bulletin here today, and we were coming to you live from Namugongo at the Uganda Martyrs site. And as you can see in the background, there's quite a lot of people, and of course all of them